The Chernobyl disaster was a cover-up of something terrifying. Series 2 Part 2. Then something slammed into a wall down the way we came from, with a crash and the sound of glass and plastic breaking. Whatever thing was there with us turned and quickly followed it. I thought that it's gone and I'm safe. Out of nowhere, suddenly a hand brushed against me. I almost jumped and screamed, but the hand quickly moved and grabbed my mouth, preventing me from making a sound. Another hand grabbed my gun. "It's me. Follow me." Slowly, a voice whispered into my ear. We entered a room on the side and I heard a door close silently. We waited for a while and then we turned our lights back on. "Crap. Don't ever do that again," I told him. But he wasn't listening. He was looking at droplets of a thick, black fluid on the floor at the other side of the room. What is that?" I asked. "Blood. At least it was, once," Morose answered and followed the trail. We traced it across a few rooms until we stopped in a large chemical lab. There was something on the ground, in a puddle of the black liquid. It was Alex's knife. There was some red liquid too. I could tell what it was without a doubt. Fresh blood. A trail of a few droplets went in the opposite direction than the black liquid. "Look. He must have gotten away," I whispered. "I doubt that. If we want to find him, we have to go to level -4. He just glanced at the knife and then acted like he didn't see anything. Look. This is his knife. They must have fought here, and he went that way." I pointed in the direction where the blood trail went. "He must be hurt. That's one more reason for us to not waste time. Let's go." He stepped off back into the central corridor. I wanted to stay and search for Alex, but the tether that connected us wouldn't allow that, so I obliged and followed. Initially. "Morose, please tell me what is going on. How do you know he's not here?" "Because I know." "Just shut up. We don't have time to argue." We weren't whispering anymore. "I'm not going anywhere until you tell me why you are so sure," I insisted. "Because he's dead." "What?" "But you said." "Come on, let's go. This is not a place where we want to stay. We have to get down to level -4. Morose cut me off. "No. I trusted him at first, because he was the only one who could help me and help Alex. That was the only thing I focused my mind on, saving Alex. Only now I was realizing what I had gotten into, how blind and how stupid I was. He wasn't just an assistant as he claimed, and we weren't here to save Alex." I started unbuckling my end of the tether. "What the F are you doing?" he asked, raising his voice. "I'm going out." "Give me the key to the padlock," I demanded. "No. I can't do that," he said, with agitation in his voice. I had no choice. I raised my gun at him. "Give me the key," I demanded again. "You really think I would give you a working gun?" "You're not going anywhere," he said and pointed his shotgun at me. I pulled the trigger, but there was only a click. "Crap. Why are we here? Why didn't you call your friends, your superiors or whatever to take care of this, but you have to hold me at gunpoint? Let's say we don't share the same goals anymore. But have no doubt, they are coming here, but not with guns. With concrete. They are going to seal this place up for good. And we have to be quick if we want to be out by the time that happens. Why can't you just please let me leave now?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Because it's a two-man job," he said and looked me in the eyes. "There are things much more important than you, me, or your friend." I couldn't deny that. Maybe he was right, but I couldn't do this. And I didn't understand anything. "Who are you?" I asked him, returning his gaze. But then I looked away. Something caught my attention. Movement behind Morose. It was a creature, crawling across the ceiling towards us. Its body vaguely looked like a human, but its skin was pale, and stretched tight over its thin bones. Its veins were visible through the skin, filled with the same black fluid we found earlier. It had no hair and only holes where its nose and ears used to be. Its eyes were bloodshot, locked in a blank stare. We escaped it before, but our argument brought it back. It was too late to run now. Morose noticed my stare, but he wasn't fast enough. The creature lunged at him. At the same time he turned around and fired a shot, but missed and the thing knocked him to the ground. That shot was deafening in such a tight space. I heard only ringing in my ears, my eyes were slightly blinded by the muzzle flash. In the confusion, I turned to run, but I forgot that I was still tethered to Morose. After the line was completely reeled out, it jammed, stopping me right in my track and sending me falling to the ground. I looked back and saw that the creature was now looking at me. Morose was lying there on the ground. I must have pulled it off him by yanking on the tether, and now it would come to make sure it won't happen again. I finally managed to disconnect the tether and threw the useless pistol at the creature, hitting its head. It briefly stumbled and I ran to the only place that quickly came to my mind. I barricaded myself in a storage room adjacent to the large chem lab, blocked the door with a shelf. The creature spent a minute trying to get in, but then gave up and left, presumably to finish off Morose. And I stayed there, just sitting in the corner, too scared to do anything. I don't know how much time had passed, but it was starting to get hard to breathe. For a time, I thought I would just stay there, and end it all, peacefully, instead of a violent death that was likely waiting for me at the other side of the door. But then, I heard a voice call my name. Alex's voice. "Alex? Is that you?" I called back. "Oh, thank God. I thought I would die here." "You came back," he answered. I went to open the door, but then changed my mind. "How did you find me?" I asked. "I was hiding too, but then I heard gunshots, and I came here to look." "Dmitri, please come out, we have to get out of here." I sat down again. Maybe it was really him. But what if it wasn't? I didn't want to find out. "No." He said, "You were dead." "I saw blood too." "No, it isn't you. It can't be." "What?" "I don't. What are you talking about, Dmitri? One of those things got me pretty good, but I'm alive." "Dmitri, just please come out and let's get out of here," he pleaded. I have decided. I wouldn't open the door. But then I changed my mind once again, after what he said. "Dmitri, do you remember the cherry tree? I knew you would come back. We used to play at this huge cherry tree when we were kids. We used to climb it all the time, but one day, I had this idea to make a bet. Whoever gets the highest, wins. I got almost to the top, but then I realized how bad an idea this was. The branches under me were too thin, and I knew they could break under my weight anytime. But Alex didn't want to lose. He tried to climb even higher than me. And then the twig he was standing on broke and he fell. Luckily, he landed in a pile of fallen leaves and only broke his leg. He could have killed himself if he fell on solid ground. And it was my fault. I almost got him killed, because of a stupid bet. We decided not to tell anyone how it happened, because we were both afraid of getting into trouble. But I felt guilty for it for the rest of my life. There was no way how he could know about the cherry tree if it wasn't him. I opened the door and there he was. He looked terrible, bruises and scrapes all over. And he had a blood-stained torn piece of shirt wrapped around his left hand. "Are you okay?" I asked. "I've been better. Let's just get out of here," he replied. "That's not going to be that easy," I said. I told him what happened until now and that the door was locked. Only Morose had the key and he was either dead or gone. There were some tools and supplies up there, right? "Maybe we can find something to cut the chain," Alex said, and we decided to try it. It was better than searching for Morose's key after all. We found his shotgun, stained with blood, both his and the creature's, and immediately felt safer. We also picked up our packs that we dropped earlier. Luckily, all of our gear was still there. We carefully walked back to the main hall, but I felt that something was watching us all along. We saw some few old saws and files next to the main door. We grabbed all we could, but we weren't alone. The inhabitants finally decided to make their move. One of the thin creatures crawled out of the stairwell. I aimed, and fired. It fell down from the ceiling, twitching like a dying insect. But it didn't matter, because it wasn't alone. Another one crawled out. Then another. And another. We ran to the air pump room and blocked the door by jamming a large saw between the handles. We worked quick, because we knew that it was only a matter of time until they got through. Or come through the vents. Alex couldn't operate the shotgun with his hurt hand, so he offered to do the cutting while I stood guard, ready to kill anything that would come out of the vents. It was working, but it was too slow. Way too slow. Alex barely got through a few millimeters when I thought that the door would break already. They were pounding on it, slamming into it, and I saw it rattle in its hinges. I thought that they would get through any moment now, and then they stopped. I heard them run away. I coughed when a sharp odor hit my nose. "What is that?" Alex asked.